He was the wealthiest man in the world for more than a decade, and then he was surpassed by legendary business tycoon Jeff Bezos. In his entire life of business, Bill Gates and Microsoft were the major competitors to another tech giant, Apple. So founding and starting one of the largest companies in the world, Bill Gates made vast amounts of wealth. And here are how Bill Gates spends his billions. All $116 billion of it. So let's dive right into the world of luxury. But first, how he made his wealth. Gates was born on the 20th of October 1955. His hometown was Seattle, Washington, and his family was the one to promote competitiveness among their children. When he was 13 years old, the Mothers Club at the school gathered up funds to purchase a teletype Model 33 ASR terminal as well as a computer time on a General Electric computer for students. Gates was fascinated with the machine and spent most of his time working and tinkering with it. He was excused from math class and spent his time in the office hacking on the computer. He was the first in the school to invent a computerized tic-tac-toe game, which the students could play against the computer. At the school, he met Paul Allen, who would later co-found Microsoft with him. After he finished high school, he got accepted at Harvard and wanted to be a lawyer. He then read a magazine about Altair computers, and the article changed his life. He called the company and told them he had a computer language for them, which he didn't. He then made a computer-based language basic work on the Altair computer, sold it to the company, and co-founded Microsoft in his garage along with Paul Allen. The first thing that these guys created was the code for the Altair Basic, which was widely copied, illegally mind you, and used by computer hobbyists. He wrote an angry letter to hobbyists illustrating how copyright infringement jeopardized the future of programming. IBM, the major computer manufacturer and supplier for computer equipment in the 1980s, charged Microsoft with designing the very first operating system. Gates sold them one, but he wasn't the one who created it. He bought the right from a different programmer and resold it to IBM for a fee. And this sparked the idea of creating an operating system for personal computer, which were gaining popularity in the 80s. The first version of Microsoft Windows was released in November 20th, 1985, and the rest was, as they say, his history. For 18 years, he remained the undisputed king of wealth. From 1995 until 2017, he was only surpassed 4 times in those 22 years. All the 16-hour days, the partnerships, the rivalries, and the products that he developed made him a fortune of $116 billion. Now here's how he spends that money. Houses. The prized possession of the once world's wealthiest man is a mansion that he named Xanadu 2.0. Why is it so special? It's a property that overlooks Lake Washington, in fact right on the shore, and greenery coupled with the lake make this mansion that much more desirable. Oh, and one of the neighbors is the current world's wealthiest man, Jeff Bezos. His house is 66,000 square feet and set the owner back a whopping $63 million to construct, and don't forget, the $2 million Gates had to shell out just to purchase the property for the home. One of the cool features of the house is that it smashes that like button if you haven't done so already. But if we're being serious, it incorporates a lot of technology with modern design and a wooden exterior. The Pacific Lodge style of the building gives it a distinguished look. Now, want to take a look inside the mansion? Okay then, well let's go inside. Because Gates is an avid book reader, he has built his very own library where the roof ID shaped in a dome and has an oculus. And this might surprise you, as well as it did us, the guy has a 2,500 square foot gym inside the mansion. We know he's more about brains and not the brawn, but I guess he wants to stay in good shape. Just to live in it, Gates has to pay $1 million in property taxes alone. And don't suppose he and his wife are doing all the maintaining. Just imagine trying to clean the reception hall that can seat around 200 people or around 2,300 square feet in surface area. It would take you about a week before you're done. To construct the house, there were 300 construction workers. 100 of those were electricians integrating the estate-wide service system. Now that's what you call a good home. And to preserve heat in the winter and stay cold in the summer, the house uses the natural environment to its advantage. Let's say the gym, the library, the reception hall take up around 10,000 square feet. What do the rest of those 56,000 square feet hold? What would you say about the 24 bathrooms, 6 kitchens, a home theater suitable for 20 people? Oh, and the home theater has red velvet comfy chairs and a popcorn machine if you're in the mood for snacks. On the outside, the mansion is home to putting greens, a multiple sorts court, and a boat dock, just in case if a rich friend drops by. And when it comes to garages, the main one can house up to 25 cars. We said the main one because there are many others located around the building. All of that and no pool? Did you really think the lake is the closest thing that this house comes to water? This house doesn't have only one pool, it has a waterfall, a 60-foot pool, another pool under a glass wall that leads to a terrace infinity pool, and we're not done yet. The huge tweak that Gates added to this pool was the underwater sound system. What's that? It's a state-of-the-art system that allows guests to listen to music even while swimming. And we're finally done with all the features this house has. Yachts. Sadly, this billionaire sees a yacht just as another splurge he doesn't really need, although he has the money to buy basically any yacht out there, but instead he places his in more lucrative and cash flow producing assets. Jets. Gates has said that the jet is one of the splurges he owns. Once he became rich, the first thing he bought was a private jet. He bought a Bombardier BD700 Global Express. The jet has the second largest cabin in the world, and the Bombardier can accommodate 19 people comfortably. What did this giant plane cost him? Just a measly $40 million. With that price tag, it is considered to be one of the most luxurious jets in the entire world. Although some would say that this is an unnecessary expense, when you see how much Bill Gates travels, you will understand that he not only needs it, but the jet actually saves him a ton of time. Cars. When it comes to cars, Bill actually prefers Porsche. In fact, when he became very rich, the other thing he purchased alongside his jet was a Porsche 911. He bought it way back in 1979 and he managed to sell it for around $80,000. But he did drive it though, and he drove it like none other. He took it for high-speed rides in the desert roads. His wife, however, had to bail him out of jail numerous times for speeding. The next car he bought was a Porsche 959, and this car was the most technologically advanced vehicle in the 80s. So you could say it piqued his interest. He bought it and had to fight regulators because it was forbidden to import the car from Europe because of its high emission. It could go from 0 to 60 in 3 seconds and had a 444 horsepower. The third car he owned was another Porsche. This time it was a Porsche 930 Turbo, and because the car was crazy fast, Gates named it Rocket. Sadly, he grew tired of it in the 90s and sold it. During his last days at Microsoft, Gates was seen driving a Ford Focus. You heard that right, he was driving a Ford Focus. That wee little thing. And the current car he possesses is a Porsche Taycan. You think he bought a Tesla, you would be sadly mistaken. He stayed true to the company he purchased the majority of his cars from, and that's why he still bought from the Tycoon. Collectibles. Let's just say his artwork collection is quite impressive. He owns the Codex Leicester. This is a book written and edited by Leonardo da Vinci himself, and he bought it at auction for $30.8 million. Some of the artwork he possesses includes Winslow's Homer's Lost on the Grand Banks for $36 million, George Bellows' Polo Crowd for $28 million, and Frederick Child Hassam's work Room of Flowers for $20 million. Charity. And if he was like Jeff Bezos, he would have had more money than him, if he didn't give most of it away to charity. The Bill and Melinda Gates Foundation is the largest in the United States of America, and the couple has given $36 billion to it. Also, he has signed the Giving Pledge, which means that 99% of his wealth will go to charity when he passes away. And on that note, we end the video. But hey, what would you do with all the money Bill Gates has? You can tell us in the comment section below. If you'd like more videos like these, don't forget to subscribe to our channel and hit the bell icon so you never miss any of them. And as always, thanks for watching, guys.